We're on page 33. And a piecewise function is just graphs that might just not be continuous. Let me put it that way. Or they could be. But if I give you this function, and I say, hey, this function exists as 6x minus 1 if x is less than 0. But then it's 7x plus 3 if x is greater than or equal to 0. Which one would we want to plug a negative 3 into? The top one or the bottom one? Because what you're going to look at, you guys, you're going to look at that value right there, negative 3. And is negative 3 less than 0, or is it greater than or equal to 0? Isn't negative 3 less than 0? So because of that, I'm going to plug in a negative 3 to this equation. So I'd say 6 times negative 3 minus 1. What is that? Negative 18 minus 1 gets me negative 19 is my answer. Boom. So the value of this function when x is negative 3 is negative 19. How about when x is 0? Which one do I want to plug it into? When x is less than 0 or x is greater than or equal to 0? Yeah, to equal to 0, right? 0 is equal to 0. So I'm going to plug that into, Loy and Lebeo, you with me? 7 times 0 plus 3 is going to get me a final answer of 3. Drew, you writing it down? And then lastly, what about if x is 4? The bottom one. Is 4 greater than 0? Yeah. 7 times 4 plus 3? 31. Again, similar value, f of negative 3, but I'm going to change our functions. Is negative 3 less than negative 1 or greater than negative 1? It's less than, so I'm going to plug that into the top one. Be careful. This is where our calculators could make a big difference. What's negative 3 squared? 9 minus 9? 0 over negative 1. Final answer would be 0. Very good. We definitely have to simplify that. How about f of 1 here? Top one or bottom one? 1 is greater than negative 1. How would I plug a 1 in there? You can't. So what's my answer? 6. You got it, people. Good job. Boom. Okay. So now we got to start practicing graphing. So on this first one, you guys, we've got to graph these separately. What is y equals? So f of x is just fancy for y. We want to graph y equals 2x and y equals 8. Y equals 2x. What would that look like? What's my y-intercept if it's just y equals 2x? Where would I start that? Yeah, it's really y equals mx plus b. My b is 0, so I'm going to start at 0. And then what's my slope? Up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, or down 2 to the left one. And they only care about this line for these x coordinates, when my x's are between 0 and 4. So check this out. Do you agree x is 0 is here? Here's where x is 0. X is 4 is over here. You guys, they only want this straight red line from 0 to 4. Oh, I went to 5, I think, on my board. Whoops. 1, 2, 3. Oh, gosh. They want it from 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4. They want it only between those points. So my red line is going to start at 0 and go to when x is 4. And I've got to get rid of everything else. So that's where we definitely want to use a pencil. We might be erasing some stuff. I think we do the best with drawing it like normal and then getting rid of the extra stuff. I knew to get rid of the extra stuff because my x's had to be bigger than 0, but they also had to be smaller than 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What would this one look like? Y equals 8. Say it again. Hoy. It's going to be a horizontal line, you guys. A horizontal line where? When y is 8. And maybe you'll want to watch me do this before you draw it. I'm just going to say, because I can erase a lot easier than you guys. Here's y equals 8. Where do they care about y equals 8, though? Only between 4 and 7. So look what I'm going to do with my eraser. I'm going to say, oh, I got to get rid of this until when x is 4, all the way to when x is 7. That's when they care about that. And I'm going to go throw a dot on 7, and I'm going to talk about y in a second. And again, kind of helping yourself see, oh, there's 4 on the x-axis. Here's 7 on the x-axis. I only care about that line between these two vertical x is 4 and x is 7. You guys, anytime it's a less than or equal to or a we're going to close the dot. And if it was less than or greater than, we're going to open it. But at 4, wasn't this point already closed? We closed that point here. So even though this says, hey, keep it open, any closed point will always win. So that one's going to stay closed because this line closed it right there. Even though they say, hey, make it an open circle here, you're like, oh, it was already closed, and that always trumps. Let's go try this next one. Does anyone remember? Okay, let's start with these. Let's start with this guy. Y equals 6. We got y equals 6 twice. Y equals 6 is going to look like what? A horizontal line. Y equals 6 is going to be a horizontal line at 6. And again, you might want to watch me do it first because you might not want to have to erase everything. But there's y is 6. Where do they want that? Everything below negative 6. I like that. So x is negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Everything below, so to the left of it. I'm going to get rid of everything in between until when? They wanted everything also bigger than 6, when all my x's are greater than 6. So I have this big old horizontal line. I'm going to close circle because of that. And then I'm going to open circle over here because of this. And the slope is just up 1 over 1 or a negative 1 slope. And that exists between negative 6 and 6. So it's going to go all the way to negative 6 and all the way to positive 6. Have I made a mistake on my graph? I'm going to say, yes, I have. I need someone to correct it. What did I not do? Between negative 6 and 6. This one's underlined. This graph is the V between negative 6 and 6. This one says or equal to. What should I do to that point? Yeah, fill it in. Fill it in because it says or equal to there. And any closed dot will always override an open dot. So both of these are filled in because this one was filled in because of this. This one has 3 of them. Okay, let's start with the first one. Graph y equals 1. So again, this is just fancy for y equals 1. That's going to look like y equals 1 is a horizontal line. Where do we care about that horizontal line? Yeah, only when my x's are less than or equal to negative 2. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my horizontal line only because it's easy for me to erase. But I only care about that when my x's are less than or equal to negative 2. So I'm going to close dot that because they said less than or equal to negative 2. X is negative 2 here, and I'm keeping everything to the left of it. What about y equals, what's this next one? And you guys, it might help some of you guys to write all these out. Y equals 1 was the first equation. What's the next equation going to be? Y equals 2 plus x. How might I want to rewrite that so it looks like y equals mx plus b? I would write it as x plus 2. I would put always that x in front. What's my y-intercept? 2. My slope is 1. So we're going up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. And where do we care about this graph? Only from negative 2 to 3. So you guys, I'm going to go from negative 2 all the way to 3. What do we want to open or close different circles? At negative 2, do we want to open it or close it? Open it. And at 3, what do we want to do? Close it. So that's what my graph is going to look like. And I realize that it is easier for me since I've got this iPad. So these don't touch here, and that's okay. We've got a little opening here, and that's all right. Last one. Y equals 2x. How are we going to write that one? Y equals 2x. What's my y-intercept on this guy? 0. And honestly, watch me, because this one, before you guys do it, I would do this. What's my slope? Up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. See how these are overlapping? Where do they want us to pick this one up? Only when my x values are greater than 3. So look at this. I went up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. This is when x is 3, and they only want it to the right of that. So I'm going to start at 3, and I'm going to go to the right. But the only way I did that was maybe very faintly. I just went like up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And I drew some very faint dots if I were you, because we can't just kind of guess that. I think that's too hard. I'm going to fill this back in with black. Yes, what should I do with this dot right here? Sam, you're saying let's open it up because I said x is greater than 3, not equal to it? Yeah. I dig it. So I'm going to say when x is greater than 3. Yeah. Y equals 2. Good old horizontal line. Y equals 2. Where do we only care about y equals 2? When my x is less than or equal to negative 5. So you guys, I'm going to get rid of everything to the right because I only care about things less than. Left means left. To the left at negative 5. What's this one going to look like? Y equals x plus 4. We're starting up 4. What's my slope of this guy? 1. So we're going to go up 1 over 1 or down and to the left. And where do we care? Do I keep going for a pretty long time on this one? I actually do. They want this all the way from negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to x is positive 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sam Bandy, what should I do with my circles on this one? Close or open? Yeah, that left side's got to be open. And the right side? Closed. All right, you guys, last one. How about this? Y equals negative 1/2 x. How are we going to graph that guy? Start at 0. Go down 1 over 2. Down, and draw those very faintly, you guys. Draw those very faintly because they only care about that when my x values are greater than 4. They only care about that when my x values are bigger than 4. So I'm going to go when x is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to go to the right because those are all things bigger than 4. And I got to go get rid of my other dots. And if x's are bigger than 4, open circle or closed circle? Open it up.